So we experimented with the desk in the off season. So I think I'm going to stick with it in the regular season. People seem to like it. Plus, I could put things on it. Oh, actually, I bought one of those like Stanley things that everyone goes crazy about. But I don't know if it's a bootleg or not. But it's like I could be cool person. Only problem is metal. You can't bring it to Yankee Stadium. Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees. Well, the Yankees start the season with a bang, sweeping the Houston Astros on the road. Kind of go back into that series, kind of dissect each of the games, and kind of take away all the key points and why those wins were important, why the whole series sweep was important for the Yankees, and kind of compare this current Yankee team, at least at the start of the gate, versus the 2023 Yankees. Now, it's not all sunshine and rainbows here in this episode. We got a little further update on the DJ LeMahieu foot situation. Looks like there is a crack in the foot there, so it sounds like a situation where he's going to be out quite a while. I'll kind of give my take on that. And, of course, what we've been waiting for almost the whole offseason, pretty much as soon as the Yankees traded for Juan Soto, what would be the John Sterling call for Juan Soto? So we finally got to hear it. I'll kind of go back on it, give you my take, what I feel about it, my feelings. So we've got all this good stuff for you covered in this episode. But before we get started, you have a little work to do on your side. There's a audio podcast version of this show. So wherever you get your favorite podcast, go look for Section 420 Talkin Yankees. You get stuff that you can't get here, you can't see anywhere else. So it's updated much more frequently. So you don't have to wait like a whole week or even 2 weeks to see a new episode. You kind of want to get my opinion on stuff because it's very important. Do a little wrap up after the games like I did after the end of the Houston series. But if other key moments, I'll jump in during the regular season. I'll do a little Yankee history, some of my stories. Going to Yankee Stadium and seeing some crazy stuff over the years there. So you get the whole. All the enchilada, you want to get that, so make sure you subscribe to that audio podcast. And if you're watching right now on YouTube, you should have already done it already. I don't know why you haven't done it already, but make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and get notified right away as the new episodes go up, so you don't have to wait until it gets on TV. And if you have to be watching on TV, well, now you got double duty there. You got to make a double play here. First, go wherever you get your favorite audio podcast, subscribe there. Well, and you must also complete the double play, complete the flip to second base. Go to YouTube, subscribe to Section 420 Talkin Yankees, cover all the bases. So the Yankees, they circled, the first date of the regular season against the Houston Astros there, not only because it was to see the debut of the road uniforms, but most importantly, you want to see how this new Yankee team was going to go up against their main rival. I mean, the Houston Astros team, really the organization, has really blocked the Yankees in their path to the World Series 4 different times, knocking the Yankees out going back from 2015. So, this is what, if you're a Knicks fan, remember how this Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls almost denied Patrick Ewing and the Knicks their entry to get to the NBA championship. Houston Astros kind of been like the Chicago Bulls for the New York Yankees there. So, and because with some of the moves the Yankees made, you want to see how they would fare up against their main rival there. Now, Houston, look, they didn't do a ton in the offseason. I mean, probably, I guess one of their bigger moves was signing closer Josh Hader there. Some of them possibly the Yankees might have looked at for a 5-year deal, but this has pretty much been the same Houston team that the Yankees have been looking at for the past couple of seasons. Now, going into the matchup, we got the news way back that Verlander was not going to be available to start the season on the IL, so you're almost licking your chops. But then, of course, then the Yankees right around the corner get the same news regarding Garrett Cole. So almost a push there that each team didn't really have their quote-unquote ace to start this one. And, of course, with the Yankees being on the road, and, of course, Houston kind of always having the number, at least more over in recent history there, you figure the Yankees would be at a disadvantage. So you almost, if a 4-game series there, you would be more than glad to take a 2-2 sweep. But the Yankees actually went above and beyond probably any expectation we could have had, taking all 4 games. And not just the way they just won the games, this is the fact they won, but how they won these games. This wasn't like the usual Yankee MO of just relying on home runs. This is stuff we saw. Really, we haven't seen from this Yankees franchise in a long time. You saw sustained rallies, you saw walks, you saw timely hitting. Again, it wasn't a situation where, the Yankees were losing 3-0, and then in the 9th inning, Judge hits a grand slam and they win 4-3. It's like, yeah, it's exciting there, but you were being shut down for 8 innings until, Judge actually finally swung a bat. So this was not like that. This was a situation where the Yankees had some timely hitting. They put runners on base. Again, and they hit the ball, just hitting simple singles, going opposite field and stuff like that. And something we haven't seen from the Yankee team. And really, at the really, you got to really place Juan Soto at the center of all of it. You just see the difference of him in this lineup, which is why going back, if you want to evaluate that trade, I mean, especially after the first series there, you can see why it was really a no-brainer to do that. And that's the difference of having an MVP type player like Juan Soto, who's going to be in there every week, every game almost. I mean, it's pretty durable versus you have a group of pitchers, which are, you need pitching, of course, but pitches, a reliever maybe pitches 2 or 3 times a week. Maybe a starter only pitches like once a week there. And of course, the Yankees also threw in like, Higgy there as a backup catcher, which, he was expendable there. So you want to go back to that deal that the Yankees bought in Juan Soto. I still think it was a great move, and you just see it paying off right away with this offense. Again, light years difference from the 2023 team. And not only Juan Soto, but the fact that the Cashman brought in Verdugo a little bit before that. Now you got Rizzo back healthy over the concussion head injury he had from last season there. And now you got 3 competent left-handed bats. And then, of course, you mix in with this improved Oswaldo Cabrera, and that's something I'll get into in a little bit. Now you have a balanced lineup. It's not all righties. It's righty-lefty there. And you need to see that Soto in the center of it. He kind of just, other players like Cabrera, for example, signaling that this is the way Soto kind of attacks every pitch day, and he grinds that bats out and grinds out, makes the pitches throw more pitches like that. That kind of seemed that rubbed off on Oswaldo Cabrera from him observing Soto. So just Soto being there, you don't have to say anything, just have an example, just help the whole team from top to bottom. Now again, the opening day win there, it was 5-4. It was a situation where the Yankees had a comeback win. They also came back in the second game. Now the second game was 7-1 there, where you look, the Yankees blew them up. But actually, no, that was a close game for the most way. Carlos Rodon only gave 1 run there. Now he wasn't able to come out of the 5th inning there, but the Yankees only down 1-0. Now they eventually would tie the game and go ahead, mainly because of some fielding blunders by the Astros. Then of course, he's tacked on a little bit later and take the second game there 7-1. And so it wasn't like this situation where, like, the Yankees just come out and blasting. Like, the other team pitches could be weak, and he's come out there and you tee off on them, and that could happen to the Yankees, that could happen to him. But, these are all closely contested games where, the Yankees did have a comeback in 3 out of the four of these games. They were down, they came back there. So you like to see that. You like to see them do that on the road, and you like to see them do that in Houston, something they may have to do if these teams do lock up in the playoffs come, this October, in the postseason. And, of course, early on there, you right now have a 4-0 lead on the Houston Astros, because they'll say, in the seeding later on in October, they're going to determine who's going to be first seed, second seed, third seed, and all that stuff. Well, if you go against the wins against each other, right now the Yankees have a 4-0 advantage. Now, of course, these teams are going to face each other later on in the regular season, so can Houston answer back there and maybe sweep the Yankees in return? I don't know, but it seems at least once they get there in October, and if all things go the way they should, the Yankees should be in October. They'll have the head-to-head matchup over Houston there, and they'll get the highest seed if they if such a situation, if both teams there finish in a tie. But what you liked about this is that the Yankees didn't rely on home runs. I know we got a couple. You got one from Cabrera in the opening game there, okay? Then you got a 3-run home run by him, I believe in the Saturday night game. That was a Stroman game there. And, of course, Stanton got one as well in kind of garbage time. But their rallies were part of the home run. The rallies were getting on base, exciting baseball, getting on base, getting walks, and then you're getting like timely hitting from people like Oswaldo Cabrera, Soto, Anthony Volpe, hitting with runners in scoring position, having rallies, exciting. Even Hal Steinbrenner, you remember him saying a couple seasons ago that this team's boring to watch. They do nothing for pretty much the whole game. Maybe get a 3-run home run and that's it there. But these Houston games were exciting because the Yankees were putting the ball in play, putting men on base, and just good old-fashioned baseball. And yeah, you got a handful of home runs, maybe 3 there. But that's it. But that wasn't really the crux of the offense. The crux of the offense was just them getting on base and getting timely hitting. So that's what you like to see. And if this is going to be the Yankee offense for the rest of the way, as long as everyone stays healthy, of course, they're going to be in very good shape. And again, 2 probably outstanding, really outstanding Yankees. Of course, Juan Soto there, man, and he was named the Player of the Week after that, just for getting off to a good start in pinstripes there. But also the improvement of Oswaldo Cabrera and Anthony Volpe, the 2 of them who needed to have a good, a good 2024. Now, I know you looked at Volpe and say, well, he had 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases, he won the Gold Glove. Yeah, I mean, he did have a good rookie season, but he also hit 206, and you can't have that. You would almost sacrifice him hitting over, if you want to give up half his home runs, and if he hits 280, 300, you'd rather have that than the home runs. Now, he did have a very good spring, and he also had a good spring last year, so you're a little curious how he's going to be out of the gate, but at least the 2024 season, he's carried the hot spring into the regular season. And if this is the version of Anthony Volpe that the Yankees are getting, Really good news for them because, again, he really was hot in spring, throughout all spring, and it seems like he's carried that over. Of course, he's talked about, stop upcutting the ball. He's kind of more of a level swing, and it seems to be paying off. And, again, he had a big hit with some runners on base there, and, of course, later on did hit a home run. He got his first of the year. Now, he wasn't available for the final game because he had a little stomach bug, I guess, when they made the trip to Mexico City with the Diablo Rojos there. And it seemed like a couple of people on the team got maybe a little sick there, but looks like that's something they'll drag on there. So his hitting's improved, but the real improvement is, I mentioned before, Oswaldo Cabrera, who kind of had a lost 2023. We all remember when he came up in late 2022. He was good there. He was versatile, switch hitter, played all the positions. But he didn't really take that next step in 23. Kind of dismal, hit like 211 there. His power is down. It didn't seem like the same player. But he did come to camp, came in slimmer, came with the right mind frame. But really the results wasn't there until almost very late into spring training. Finally hit a couple of home runs. But once he got into this Houston series, he just teed off. Seems like a totally different player. And again, if this is the version of Oswaldo Cabrera we're going to get for the whole season, that's, again, in addition to Volpe, that's extremely good news, especially the fact, and I'll get to later, that DJ LeMahieu seems going to be out for a long period of time. Well, if Cabrera is going to man third base and hit like this, then you almost, take your time, DJ, coming back, or you've got to stay out the whole season. No big loss there. But really good improvement for Oswaldo Cabrera. Again, had a huge home run in the first game to tie it up, and had a big 3-run home run to tie the game. That was the Stroman game to tie it up in there. So 2 huge hits, and just both him and Soto just teeing off, just hitting singles there. Just a much improved Yankee offense, much more enjoyable to watch. So if they just could kind of keep this up there, again, the Yankees should be in good shape for the regular season, as long as all the pitching and everything else holds up from there. And Aaron Judge, it's just funny because Judge almost come like an underlier there. I mean, he didn't really do a ton. He did get a big leadoff double in the first game that almost become the game-winning score. But he really wasn't. He didn't really make his mark on that series. So even with kind of Judge being a little bit of subdued, they still had a good, successful sweep of the Houston Astros. So look, that's just something you want to just keep in the back of your mind there. The Yankees have, I think this for later on in the season there, because if you think of something like a Josh Hader, for example, in the final game, now it wasn't a safe situation, but he did give up the game-winning hit there to Juan Soto, so now that's going to be a bug in the back of his head. The Yankees beat me one time, so, is that going to get something that gives them the yips later on? If these two teams got to lock up, so that's another good advantage that the Yankees have this in their back pocket. So, again, it's only one series. It's only 4 games. Look, it could have happened the other way. The Yankees started off 0-4. Would you panic and get rid of the whole season? No, you wouldn't do that. But just with everything going on in the offseason, kind of, we didn't really see this offense really click. And if you look at the regular season record in the spring training record, wasn't that great. So you're a little suspicious of how this team was going to kind of click in. But it just seems like on day one, they just all seem like they've all been there. Like Juan Soto, even though he's kind of a new Yankee, he just kind of fits in like a glove. It seems like he's been here for 2 or 3 seasons. And even potentially, someone like Giancarlo Stanton, who his back came alive a little bit, had a couple of hard hit balls, had a home run. Even if you look at someone like him where you're not even paying attention to him anymore a little bit, well, that's like a former MVP type player. So you can see the potential of this offense, what they could bring to the table there. So good stuff for the Yankees, good way to go. Got a long way there, but if this is what the team is there, then it's a lot of good news, and it should be an exciting baseball to watch for the rest of the way. And going back to the Houston series, it wasn't only the Yankee bats that outshined the Houston hitters, but I got to look at the Yankee bullpen outpitched the Houston bullpen, and for the past couple of seasons, almost the other way around. And even overall, you look at 4 games there. Yankee fans were complaining, especially in the when Houston ousted the Yankees in the 2022 playoffs, that it almost looked like the Yankees didn't even belong in the field at the Houston Astros. Now, I want to say that totally flipped there, but you almost see like in all 4 games there, the Yankees were superior in almost every way, not only the hitting, but of course in the bullpen work there, and it's it is important to kind of recognize that. Now, during the offseason, Cashman didn't make any major bullpen moves, and I was kind of that's the only thing I kind of worried about a little bit. And I don't think it was Dyer that made moves there, but of course, we know Clay Holmes kind of had a bit of an up and down 2022. 2023, his workload was unevenness because it was a bad Yankee team. Again, he wasn't in too many save positions. He ended up with 16 saves there. I think towards the end of 2023, he got a little bit better there, but still going in, you're not really 100% sure he's going to be your closer the whole way there. Now, the Yankee bullpen, again, up to him and him as well. I mean, really, Clay Holmes, he made you sweat a little bit. He did give you a little bit scared, but he didn't break there, and he didn't blow into the saves. He actually ended up walking out of Houston with 3 saves, and it's just funny. He has like 1/8 of the saves he had all last season already, just from that opening weekend in Houston there. So I think the Yankees still roll with that, but you can still see that, you're still not really too confident with Clay Holmes as a closer. I mean, I think he's a good late inning person. He could be an eighth inning person there, but he does make you sweat there in the ninth inning. He got a bit lucky in that first game where Soto threw out Dubon at home there. I mean, they were teeing up on Clay Holmes. I mean, the first pitch almost took Dubon's head off. Then he gives up a hit after that, a couple more hits. And it's looking at Tucker hit the ball so hard into right field that Soto was able to come in and make a good throw and get the player out at home, and just by an inch, by just by a nip of the jersey there. So that was a situation where Holmes almost blew the game there. So you still sweat a little bit about Holmes there. Now the Yankees did make a couple of bullpen moves, pitching moves, which I'll kind of get into a little bit later there. But overall, the Yankee bullpen outstanding in Houston. Overall, 15 1/3 scoreless innings. Now Loizaga did give up an inherited run, but that was someone that was already on there. And Loizaga, they used him right out of the gate there. In that first game, 2 scoreless innings there. Seemed like in the second inning of work, he did struggle a little bit, but ended up getting a strikeout to close it out there. So, and they kind of mentioned this, and I mentioned this the last episode when it was at Yankee Stadium. He's kind of probably going to be the new Michael King, going multiple innings, maybe a couple days in a row there, because again, he came up as a starter. So again, he has the longevity, he has the endurance to go a bit longer than your typical starter there. So that's probably what they're going to use him with. He'll probably do multiple innings there the rest of the way. And as we all know, he's got the good stuff. He's got nasty stuff there. Could throw triple digits there. He just has to stay healthy. He has to keep that tricep and the shoulder healthy. And if so, that'll be the case. But at some point, maybe later in the season, though, the Yankees may have to bring another big name player in there, because again, I just still don't know Clay Holmes is going to hold up there as a closer for the whole season. You see him at his up, his down. Again, he's a big guy. He's lanky. He has kind of a funky delivery. When his stuff is on, he's untouchable. But on the other hand, he could be wild. He can start walking players in there, and it's just, you just hate to sweat there in those situations. But at least on the onset there, even though Cashman didn't do a ton of stuff in the offseason for the bullpen, then they outshined the Astros bullpen. And guys like they used to haunt the Yankees in the past, such as like Montero, the Yankees touched him up. The Yankees touched up Presley. And of course, we know Juan Soto got the big hit in the final game, or for their new $2 million closer, Josh Hader there. So the Yankee bullpen outshined their bullpen probably for the first time. I don't know if we even said that between both organizations. So I don't think the Yankees have totally dominated them or level a bit above them. But because again, see this pendulum switching very little bit there, and hopefully the Yankees just could build on that, and finally at some point, maybe in October, kick Houston out of the postseason. So we got to finally hear the Soto home run curl from John Sterling in the Houston series there. Now, I would say this visually wasn't like an iconic, Yankee debut for a home run there for Juan Soto. It was kind of an opposite field, swing that just kind of went over the left field wall there. And again, in Minute Maid Park there, it's not exactly deep there in left field there. It's not as crazy as, the Green Monster in Fenway Park there, but not exactly super hard there. So you would like a nice iconic blast like center field or right field, and like that be the Yankee call home run. So it was just kind of this bleh home run that kind of barely made it over. Nevertheless, we finally got the Sterling call on that. And so it's basically, Juan Soto photo, and then he gets this wonderful thing, and it kind of goes into this like musical enjouve. Now, we've seen John Sterling do this before. Again, he likes Broadway shows, so he's done that with Curtis Granderson, something sort of grandish, and of course, but I would say this is probably more in the flavor, almost like the Giancarlo Stanton one, Giancarlo No Name Paulo, whatever like that. So I wasn't that impressed with it. I think he could have done a little bit better of a job. So we'll see. I don't know if he's going to stick with this with the whole season. Because some of the iconic Sterling ones, of course, we got Burn Baby Burn for Bernie Williams. You got Bam Tino for Tino Martinez. Nick Swisher, Swishalicious. Giambino on the Mark Teixeira there. And of course, with Derek Jeter, El Capitan. So again, we've had some real great ones by Sterling with there. This Juan Soto one isn't there. I don't know, maybe he's doing too much. He's trying to make it too long. Maybe this Soto photo would be good enough. I don't know there. So a little disappointing with the Sterling call for Juan Soto. Now, if Soto's just going to be here for 1 year, which is a possibility, and it seems like he'll only be a 1 year rental, I still think it's a good move to make. Then maybe it doesn't really make a difference here. But if he's because somehow the Yankees do sign him long term after this season, he's going to be here for a while there. Now, we don't know how long Sterling want to keep announcing for the Yankees. I mean, he is in his early 80s there. But, I just think Sterling needs something a little better there. So he has a whole season ahead of him. So let's see if he can switch it up. He has done that some other players a little bit. So once he anoints someone with a call, he does switch it up once in a while. So this might not be all said and done. But if it is, a little disappointing job there by Sterling. And not only did we see the Sterling call for Soto, but now we saw the debut of these road uniforms. We heard again the new gray road uniforms, kind of going back to the old Yankees, pre-1972, the way they used to look. Again, no more like white lettering around the numbers and the New York on the front there, and kind of more of like a rugged grayish, kind of a dull there look, kind of an old school baseball uniform look. I don't know. I wasn't really loving it. I mean, maybe it could grow on me. Obviously, the one thing we did notice there, it cannot, absorb sweat well. And if you saw Carlos Rendon in his start there, it looked like he kind of took a dip in the pool there, took a shower, and then came out to pitch there. So completely soaked there. So it doesn't sound like these things, retain water well. Now, it might become like maybe the team just embraces it, and kind of with this new 2024 Yankee team with new faces like Soto and Verdugo, and if they have like a great, a great run this season, maybe it just grows on them, and the uniform kind of becomes a character of that. Okay, then I can see that happening. But this thing on the onset of it, again, wasn't loving the uniforms. Almost like a potato sack in a way, kind of like something you get from like a thrift store or the Salvation Army. That's kind of gray there and kind of bleh. And it doesn't really blend in with what other teams are doing in baseball right now. So it has a funky look. So I kind of like that part of it that is different. But I don't know. Right now I'm not loving it. I can grow to like it. I'm not gonna put finalize the jury on that right yet there, but still, it just looks a little ugly there. But let's just see, again, if this team really starts off, has a great start to the season there, and they're winning road games, and they just kind of have that rugged look, maybe this kind of becomes like a mantra of theirs. Maybe they just sort of grow into it, and then we go have fun with it. But at least visually from the onset, not really loving the uniforms. And in Houston, we finally got to see Yankee pitching prospect Clayton Beeter actually at the major league level. Finally made his major league debut. Again, he's the prospect that traded traded Jody Gallo to the Dodgers to get back in that deal there, and we finally made his debut again. He was kind of maybe in the running to be the fifth starter there. So he did make his debut, but right after that, they did send him down, which I kind of mentioned in the previous episode was very likely, just because I figured it'd be more when Tommy Kahnle joins the team, just because Beeter, again, has his options, because this is his first time coming here. But the Yankees have made some moves after that in the pitching department there. Again, Cashman always kind of being clever. Again, didn't really hand out any big contracts, but a lot of, minor league invites and kind of one-year deals and a little scrapping, finding guys off all the teams and waivers and stuff like that. So again, made a fresh round of pitching moves there. So I'll kind of just get you quickly updated on that, and that would be the purchase well, first of all, they sent Beeter down after that, and they purchased the contract of Tanner Tully from AAA, so they bring him up in order to make room for that. They had a DFA, Nick Ramirez. Again, he was one of the lefties that was kind of in the running there for, one of the lefties out of the Yankees on that. But make a deal with the Chicago White Sox to bring in Jay Cousin. Now, this is for straight cash consideration. Guy's 29 years old. Now, he did pitch it last season, just had nine relief appearances for the Brewers, but he did spend a bulk of last season in the minors there and wasn't impressive. Had a kind of a bit of a ballooned ERA of 6.35, so that's not really too impressive. But it seems like the reason Cashman wanted to bring him in is what he did this spring with the Chicago White Sox organization. He had 7 appearances and posted an ERA of 1.29 there. Did get 4 runs, but only one of those were earned there. So it seemed like he had an impressive spring, and I guess maybe Cashman had a couple of scouts looking at this guy, and maybe they can see something with him later on in the season. So again, they bring him in here. So that's one deal, and then the other deal made just shortly actually before that was a trade with the Pittsburgh Pirates, a team that Cashman has dipped into the Pittsburgh Pirates a few times. Remember, got Clay Holmes from there, got James Tyone from there a couple of seasons ago, and those turned out to be some good moves for the Cashman and the Yankees. This time they bring in J.T. Brubaker from the Pirates. Now, this is not for cash, regular cash. This is for international bonus money. So this is for organizations to use, I guess, when they draft players, internationally. They toss them a few dollars, whatever. Here, go buy a car or something. So I guess it's different than this regular cash. But nevertheless, they trade this guy for the international pool money. So the guy's 30 years old. Now, you're not going to probably see him anytime soon. He actually had Tommy John surgery at the start of the 2023 season. So he's kind of coming back on the mend from that. Maybe at some point he might be available this midseason. But it could be a situation where you never seen the guy. Now, he's only 30 years old, as I mentioned. Now, he was kind of an up-and-down failed starter for the Pirates there. Never really been able to put it together there, but I guess at least Cashman sees something in him to bring him along here. So, again, we've been seeing Cashman, has given up a lot of arms in some of these deals, like for Verdugo, like for Soto, but we also see Cashman collecting arms as well there. So maybe somebody has plans for it to be on the field at some point, or maybe he's just collecting arms to make some deals at a later date. So I guess we'll finally dip into a little bad news, and that's with dealing with DJ LeMahieu. I guess we got a further prognosis on that hurt foot there, so it's actually listed as a non-displaced fracture of the right foot. So in some cases, I guess you could displace a fracture in the case you have a non-displaced. This is a non-displaced fracture of the foot. Nevertheless, this is the foot that's been bothering really since 2021. You never got surgery on it, and so we don't know if it's really a continuation of that injury or it's just a new injury that he developed. And again, that's when he fouled a ball off his foot. That was March 16th. Now, the next day, March 17th, he had an MRI, and it seemed that it was just a deep bone bruise, but now I guess they're doing further tests, and they found out now he has actually a fracture fracture in the foot there, and they're just kind of keep him off his feet for a while. Not really looking to push him back anytime soon, and they're going to do further evaluations. So just based on that language, it looks like he's going to be out for a chunk of time. I wouldn't be shocked. Maybe if he's just done for the whole season, possibly. Maybe they just decide, hey, look, if I just get the surgery on your foot and be done with it, because it seems it's been slowing him down. Clearly DJ LeMahieu has not been the same player, even going back to almost like 2021, 2020. You look at 3 or 4 seasons now, he hasn't been himself, and clearly probably that foot's bothering. He probably can't plan himself the right way, can't get the swing the way he wants to, and that's why his numbers have drastically dripped down from the time when we used to refer to the guy as the machine, where he's like a 240, 250 hitter there. So we don't know how long he's going to be there, but it's almost like a string of a lot of Yankee misdiagnosis. I don't know what goes on with the medical staff there. I mean, you almost look as, from last season, originally, they didn't pick up on Anthony Rizzo having a concussion there. He's terrible for 2 months, and then they finally realized, oh wait, he might have had a concussion. Oops, we didn't catch that one. Or with the whole Frankie Montas situation, has a little bit of sore shoulder, goes a whole off season, they do nothing with it. Shows the spring training last season. It's like, oh, now you need surgery there. So a lot of problems with the Yankee medical staff. I know it's not a perfect science and things change, but it's been going back for a while there. There's a lot of blunders there. Even with Clint Frazier, they had a lot of problems with him and his sort of vertigo, and he had some concussion issues like there. So they can't really seem to nail these down and identify these injuries early on there. So I don't know. And I know the Yankees kind of tweaked the medical staff a little bit there. This has seemed a situation where perhaps, DJ might have had that issue originally, and they did catch it on the first MRI, but now they catch it a couple of weeks later there. And again, who knows how long he's going to be out. Now, again, the only good news is then, based on what we saw from Oswaldo Cabrera in the opening series against Houston there, then it really doesn't make that much of a difference. And plus, the Yankees did make a move before that. Now, didn't get into it in this show, and this is why you got to follow the audio podcast version. Did talk about the John Birdie trade. So the Yankees bought in Birdie from the Marlins there. Now he's a shortstop / third baseman. And he made an outstanding play in that final game in Houston there. So you could definitely man there. So between him and Oswaldo Cabrera, I think they covered for third base. So again, losing DJ is not a big deal. Again, this is not the DJ LeMahieu of 2020, so it's not like you're missing a great bat there. This is a kind of a 250 hitting DJ LeMahieu there. It's not a huge loss as it would have been a couple of seasons ago. And you can't expect Oswaldo Cabrera to keep hitting like he did in that opening series against Houston. But if he just plays close to that, or 80% of that, the Yankees, you could definitely tell him, because that 80% is probably better what DJ LeMahieu would give you right out there. And defensively, Oswaldo Cabrera and Birdie are finding a play there as well there. So no big loss, but you would hope that, if DJ, it just seems like he's going to be out for a chunk of the season, maybe they just elect to have the surgery, he can finally get this behind him, and maybe for 2025, he can start looking like his old self again. Now, even Boone said he doesn't like doing this. You're probably going to see Austin Wells be the valet catcher for Carlos Rendon. Not only because it was the second game of the season. I mean, I can understand, all right, Trevino's hurt all of last year. It's his first game back, and, maybe you just want to give him a day off, instead of throwing him out there 2 games in a row. But we've seen Wells be Rendon's catcher last season, and even like the small handful of good starts that Rendon had, Wells was his catcher there. So it's just kind of interesting that he's his catcher right away for his first start of the season. So I would expect probably the whole way you see a lot of Wells Rendon. Even though Boone says he doesn't like doing that, but we've seen Boone do that in the past. Remember Cole used to throw to Higgy because he liked throwing him over Gary Sanchez. Again, defensively, probably Trevino's a little bit better than Wells there, but Wells seems to hold his own there. And again, Wells, even dropping down the bunter in Houston as well, just kind of unexpected there. So again, this season, you'll probably see a lot of Rendon Wells, as battery mates. Now, we shouldn't do this, but you have to kick your opponent when he's down, and that's, of course, the New York Mets. Had the opposite start of the season than the Yankees there. So the first game of the season rains out for them, and maybe should be a symbol of what's going to come for the rest of the season there. But drop the next 3 games, go 0-3. But of course, when I look at Luis Severino, the former Yankee, his first debut start for the Mets did not go as well. Went 6 innings, gave up 12 hits and 6 runs. They absolutely got devastated. Again, we don't want to do that. We don't want to rub salt on the wounds of opponents there, like stuff like that. But I guess these are the good times, so you got to kick them while they're down. So that's the episode. The Yankees start the season off 4-0. It's the 4th time in the franchise history since 1950 they've done so. We'll see how far they keep it up. I see a lot of people saying this could be a special team. Don't want to go that far right yet, but things are looking good. And if they win well on the road there, I'll put up with the ugly uniforms. So make sure you subscribe to everything I mentioned before. Subscribe now.